And welcome back here at Edberg Olson Hall. This is WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. We're getting you ready for the Cherry and White game that comes your way Saturday right here at this complex at 1 p.m. And now there's a new member of the Temple University football coaching staff coming over from the Atlanta Falcons, and that is the new quarterback coach in Glenn Thomas. Glenn, welcome to Temple University. I know you've been here for a few weeks. Zach Gelb here. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you being here.
So I know that you were with the Falcons for a little bit, but what was the appeal for you to take this job at Temple and try to fix the quarterback play?
Well, I don't know if it's a fix the quarterback play. Obviously, this is a great situation for me. I feel like this is an up-and-coming situation as far as the program and where this place is headed. Coach Rule and his staff's done a tremendous job in the last couple years, with the talent level, young kids coming up, and the prospects and the outlook, I think, is bright.
I know you've been at other college stops before. Midwestern State was one of them. You were there for a long time, from 2001 to 2007, before you jumped ships to the pros. But what is the biggest difference between coaching college kids and coaching the professional athletes?
There's a lot of similarities. Probably the biggest one is just the day-to-day activities. You don't have to deal with the going to class and the study halls and the dorms and those type things. At the end of the day, when they leave leave the complex and in the NFL per se, is they're going home to a wife and kids in some situations, going home to a mortgage, and obviously it's a business environment. Whereas here, you're more culturing. It's a more cultured environment as far as growth and hopefully helping young men grow into hopefully their future goals.
When you take a look at the film from last year, or even at the time that you had with these guys this year in camp leading up to this Cherry and White game, just looking at the offense from a whole, what are some things that you like about this offense, and what do you think are some things that need improvement?
I think that the consistency probably would be the biggest thing. There was a lot of good things that they did last year. We need to probably be better in some situational things, as far as red zone, maybe backed up. Some situational football at the end of the day wins games. 2-minute, situations. If we can, be more productive and efficient in situational football, I think we'll be a lot more effective.
Does it also come down to just having more diversity? It seems like there's a lot more weapons on this offense this year than there was from a year ago.
Yeah, I think so. Like I mentioned, a lot of young kids, I felt like, and I'm still learning names and learning, who they are and their situations. But seemed like a bunch of young guys played last year, had some injuries, and had some young guys have to step in and play. And in the long run, the big picture, though, that'll benefit us moving forward.
Glenn Thomas is our guest right now as we're joined at the Edberg Olson Hall football facility. Cherry and White game coming up Saturday at 1 p.m. When you have a kid like P.J. Walker, first year comes in, has a really good year, pops a lot of eyes opens, and second year has that sophomore slump. I know there's a lot of factors that go into a season that he would like to have a little bit better, but how do you fix some of those problems like the turnovers? And also, how do you just keep a kid's confidence up? Because at the end of the day, he's still a college kid.
Yeah, he is. A lot of people lose sight that, he just turned 20, I think he said a couple weeks ago, So a lot of people lose sight in the fact that he is a growing young man and it's got a lot of a good future ahead of him. But, again, I think it's just teaching him the game, teaching him why things are happening and how we can attack a defense, teaching him situational things like we talked about as far as, late in the down. He's very, very effective late in the down with his athleticism and some of the things that he can do off schedule in a play. So trying to teach him, when to take risk, when to not to take risk, and and when just to jump ship and play to the next down.
And you got to deal with one of the best in Matt Ryan. He's a true pro in Atlanta. I know they're different players when you take a look at PJ and Matt, but is there anything that you could take when working with Matt that you could implement into PJ's game and just learn from?
Well, obviously Matt is a purebred thrower, right? So PJ brings that athleticism and that off-schedule ability. So if we can implement some of that purebred thrower that Matt brought to the table into PJ's repertoire, if you will, that would make him that much more effective.
You got to see a lot of pros play when you were coaching with the Atlanta Falcons. Is there a pro that reminds you of P.J. Walker so far?
Probably Russell Wilson, I guess, maybe a little bit. A lot of things that he does is off schedule. There's not a lot of rhythm throws, generally speaking, in what he does. But he's really, really efficient off schedule. He's not necessarily a scrambler, but he's got really good arm strength, good decision making off schedule, and makes a lot of plays, which makes it tough on the defense when those guys got to cover for 5-6 seconds. I remember when we played them 3 or 4 years ago, there was like a 12-second play or something. So it's virtually impossible for a defense to cover in the secondary for 12 seconds.
There's a lot of new pieces on this team, coaching-wise. New quarterback coach, that's you. New wide receiver coach in Frisbin Jackson. But then there's also a lot of coaches that do return, and there's players that do return. Is this just a good time right now in this camp before leading up to this Cherry and White game just to build that synergy and all the chemistry to have throughout the entire offense?
Yeah, no question. When you bring new coaches into a staff, it's obviously a huge benefit to have previous coaches from the staff, but to implement new ideas, concepts, philosophies, and try to mold those together. At the end of the day, that'll benefit everybody.
Is there any wide receivers that really stand out to you early on in this process for you?
Yeah, there's been several. Yeah, JC's a little slot receiver, does some great things. Kind of got a knack for the game. We moved Sam Benjamin over from defense, and he's really been a shining light for us. So and then again, some of those young guys are kind of learning the system. There's a bunch of long, big targets, which are great for PJ. Gives him a lot of room for error as far as accuracy is concerned, and so good things hopefully will come from those guys as well.
I know you only been here for a concise time, but a big part of this job is recruiting, and this staff, they have a lot of energy. There's some fun guys, and over the years we've seen them go from just getting 2-star guys to getting those 4-star guys, like a player like TJ Simmons and 2 other guys that are coming in this year. What's your recruiting pitch? If a kid says to you, hey, Coach, why should I come to Temple University? What do you say?
Well, like I say, just the outlook is high. This program is definitely headed in the right direction. There's I was unfamiliar with this situation coming here, to be honest with you, but you can feel it when you get in this place. There's an energy, there's a swagger about this place that's unique, I feel like. So anybody and everybody that I've talked to that's actually come on this campus and see what it's all about has been extremely impressed.
And a staple of Philadelphia, of course, is cheesesteaks. Have you gotten into cheesesteaks since you've been here in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I have. I've partaked in the cheesesteaks, and I've been impressed, yeah.
What are some places that you want to? See, this is like the hit or miss question, because there are some people that will be sitting at home listening in. If Glenn Thomas, let's say Mama's or D'Alessandro's, people will be like, I like this guy. But then if he says like Geno's, people are going to be like, I don't know about him.
Well, I've done Geno's, correct? Because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
actually might have been Pat's, maybe.
There we go.
Pat's,
good call. Yeah. Pat's is better than
Geno's. I think it was Pat's, and it was in the snow, right? So and I was sitting outside on the sidewalk, so that's appropriate, I guess. And then what was the other place? Louis Gooey's.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
Louis Gooey's, yeah, I've heard it was a good spot. Recommended. It was actually better than Pat's. So go figure.
I'm telling you, you got to try this place, Mama's. I tell these guys, they're sick and tired of hearing it. Mama's in Bala Cynwyd is the best and biggest cheesesteak. Let's say if you have one of these tough practices and you didn't eat anything in the morning and you want to go fill yourself up on a big, thick cheesesteak, you go to Mama's in Bala Cynwyd.
Okay, very good. I'll make note.
So before we let Glenn Thomas run, the new quarterback coach here at Temple University, when your coaching staff with Satterfield and Coach Matt Rule and Chris Wiesahan and the rest of the offensive pieces sit late up at night and are trying to figure out what this team on the offensive side of the ball is going to look like, what do you want this offense to look and resemble in this 2015 season?
Well, I tell you, one of the things that I think was big in the NFL that I would want to really try to implement here is take advantage of our personnel. What do we have that we can utilize most effectively? If a guy runs a particular route better, or this running back runs this particular play better, really try to emphasize those schemes and put our guys in a situation that they'll be most effective.
Coach, we appreciate a few minutes. We welcome you here to Temple University and have some fun on Saturday.
We'll do it. It should be fun.
All right, there's the quarterback coach, Glenn Thomas, joining us right now as we're at Edberg Olson Hall on this Wednesday. Cherry and White game is coming up on Saturday. What we'll do right now is we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And coming up in a few minutes, we're going to get a little competition going. Kyle Friend from the White team, and then we also have Tyler Medikevich from the Cherry team. Who's going to win on Saturday? We'll tell you that next.